Well, that wasn't a complete shit show. Gotta give him credit. The Oscars were not a complete shit show. Besides, what was Al Pacino doing there at the end? What was that, Al?
Here it comes. And my eyes see Oppenheimer.
Stumbling on stage. It kind of giving me some weird, like Joe Biden vibes. I'm sorry. I don't want to... People are going to hate me for that. Last political joke. Maybe. So I just watched the 2024 Oscars, and they were a doozy. Wow. In the sense that they were actually really fun to watch this year because they were a little bit unpredictable while also being predictable. Like, there were a lot of awards that went exactly the way that we kind of thought they were going to go, but there were a few surprises and a few lovely moments that were a lot of fun. So I'm just going to kind of go through all of it. I'm not going to go award by award. I did that in my predictions video, which you can go back if you want to see how right I was in some stuff. In this video, I really just want to talk about the show, some things that stuck out to me, because I love the Oscars. Guess what? I'm a big movie guy. I want to work in movies. I make my own movies. So for some reason, everybody that works in movies, we all have this weird dream that we want to go win those stupid little plastic gold statues and have that made-up title in front of our names. It's just a weird thing that we all dream about. We want to get on that stage and give the speech in front of all these people that think they're better than everybody on planet Earth. It's a great dream to have, guys. So because of that, we like to watch the Oscars. And you know what? I watch the Oscars every year, and I'm just gonna give you my points, some things that stood out in this year's show. First off, Jimmy Kimmel. Can we please stop having Jimmy Kimmel host these things? He is one of, if not the worst, late-night comedian. He's terrible. I'm so sick of seeing Jimmy Kimmel. He wasn't atrocious tonight, but like, God, I just can't help seeing him at the Oscars every single freaking year. Like, oh my lord, get Chris Rock. Even Ellen was better like a decade ago. I just feel like we've been rehashing the same freaking comedy every single year with Jimmy Kimmel. But I did like how they ripped on Madam Web throughout the entire show. John Mulaney's Madam Web joke was...
Without sound, we wouldn't have been able to hear such classic lines as, "You're gonna need a bigger boat. I'll have what she's having." And he was in the Amazon with my mother when she was researching spiders just before she died.
Perfect. And how he went in the Field of Dreams. John Mulaney should have hosted the Oscars. All right, let me get into some of the awards before I start rambling forever. Okay, so some of the biggest surprises. First off, Best Sound. Yes, I'm going to start with the sound one. I was very happy about this because I assumed that Oppenheimer was going to kind of sweep through all the technical stuff. This was an award that Zone of Interest deserved to win. That's an entire film that's built around its sound design, and the sound design of the movie is masterful, and Zone of Interest ended up getting the Oscars. Brilliant. Great job, guys. Best Visual Effects went to Godzilla -1. It should have been nominated for Best International Film. Probably should have won Best International Film. But yeah, that one Visual Effects, was very happy about that. I mentioned in my prediction video that I wanted it to win, but I didn't think it was going to because not a lot of people at the Academy, I thought, saw the movie. But it ended up winning, thank God. Poor Things swept a lot of kind of like the technical stuff. I think it got makeup. It also got production design over Barbie, which is kind of crazy because the entire point of Barbie, what makes that movie so special, is its production design. I thought that was at least going to be the one that they gave to Barbie to give it an award, but instead Barbie ended up getting the best song, which was the Billie Eilish song over I'm Just Ken. Crazy to me. I don't get it. The performances were great. You know, Billie Eilish did her song and the I'm Just Ken performance. My God, it made the entire night worth it. Just randomly bringing out Slash. Like, what is he doing there? What are we doing here, guys? It's amazing. I love it. Controversy-wise, we didn't really have a moment. There was no Will Smith slap. And if I'm going to be honest, that Will Smith slap was the greatest moment I've ever seen watching the Oscars live. It felt like I had just witnessed history. And of course I did. It's one of the greatest live TV moments ever. It's something that everybody who had seen it, they remember where they were when they were watching it that day. It's one of those moments. And we haven't had one of those at the Oscars for a while. So really just a lot of boring stuff, a lot of boring speeches. Documentaries-wise, this was not boring, and this is about to get very serious. I'm not going to make a joke about this one, because I can't, but 20 Days to Mariupol won Best Documentary, and it was one of the most heartbreaking speeches in the world, because the guy came up on stage, and obviously it is a documentary about Ukraine, the war in Ukraine. It's a fantastic documentary, and he made the point that he would rather not have won the Oscar because he didn't want to make this movie. I thought that was a really nice moment. I thought that idea that I made a movie about it was a documentary about a war going on in my home country, and I would trade the Oscar for not having this movie exist and there being no war. That was a very, very good, probably the best moment of the whole show. Acting awards-wise, the acting awards all went to pretty good people. There's one category, and I think you all know what I'm going to talk about. There's one category that was a little shocking. But first off, Robert Downey Jr. wins an Oscar. Great, amazing, beautiful. He deserves it. Everybody knew it was happening. Cillian Murphy wins for Best Actor. We thought it was going to be either him or Giamatti. ends up being Cillian Murphy. Definitely happy with that. And then Best Supporting Actress, we kind of all knew it was going to be Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. No surprises there. Everything's good. Everything's glorious. It's amazing. Then we get to the Best Actress category, which everybody really thought that Lily Gladstone was going to win because she won everywhere. And if you've been following my channel and you've been listening to me talk about Killers of the Flower Moon and this category specifically, I've been saying for months, I did not think Lily Gladstone should win this award, at least not the Best Actress award. I thought she should win the Best Supporting Actress award, but for some reason they decided to place her into the Best Actress category, which makes no sense because she's not a lead in the film. She's not. She's a supporting character in the film, but regardless, everybody assumed she was going to win. I thought Sandra Hüller should win for Anatomy of a Fall. It is the best performance of the year by far, in my opinion. And then guess who wins? Emma Stone wins her second Oscar. Probably the person in that category that needed it the least, but you know what? I'm not even mad. I'm just happy. I'm happy that the Oscars has finally stopped because they were the ones that really kind of keyed this in over the past decade of kind of, I don't want to say politicizing, but making the Oscars not what they actually are. The Oscars should go to the best performances of the year, the best, directors of the year. We should not give out awards just because it's a special moment and it checks a box of diversity or whatever. That's so ridiculous to me, and that, honestly, it just makes the issues that are at hand a lot worse. If I'm going to be honest, that's just the truth. It makes it worse when you give somebody an award that doesn't deserve it, but you give it to them just to check off a few boxes, all right? Lily Gladstone in that category was at least the third or fourth best performance there. It just was. She's great in the movie, but when you put it head-to-head with what Emma Stone did in Poor Things, Sandra Hüller did in Anatomy of a Fall, I would even say Annette Bening in Nyad was phenomenal, and Carey Mulligan, you could even make an argument, although she's really not the lead of that film either. It just, to me, giving her the award in this spot makes no sense other than, the political stuff that you're not really supposed to talk about, but everybody knows is the truth here. So I'm glad that they didn't kind of fall into that trap. They didn't do it last year either, although last year there was kind of some fishy stuff with some of the decisions they made. But either way, this year, they didn't, and they gave it to still the wrong person. It should have been Sandra Hüller, but that's just me getting angry. Emma Stone deserves this award. She gave one of the best performances we've seen in years from an actress. She's absolutely stunning in the role. She absolutely deserves the Oscar. It does not matter if she's nominated every freaking year, which she is. If she deserves the win, she should get the win. And that's, in my opinion, how the Oscars should work, because it's an award show. The best performances and the best, individual performances in different categories should win. Is it that bad of a concept? Is that such a bad thing to say? But I digress. I don't want to offend anybody, but Best International Film, why don't we go to that category? A less divisive category, except for me, who's angry because the Zone of Interest won. The Academy loved the Zone of Interest and won like 3 or 4 awards tonight. It's a good movie. It's not my cup of tea. It's a movie that in my review, I said very kind of blatantly that I think it is an incredibly experimental film that does a lot of stuff that I had never seen in a movie before, but I just don't think I'm the target audience for that style of movie. It just, to me, was a little slow and boring, but I can understand why a lot of people love it. It ended up winning this category. It's a little stupid, and here's why. Because for some reason, France decided, because each country, the way this category works is they send over one film. They get to nominate one film each country. And France, for some reason, decided not to send over Anatomy of a Fall as their film of choice for this category. They sent a movie called The Taste of Things, which wasn't even nominated. All right, and I can't speak to The Taste of Things because I haven't seen it, but Anatomy of a Fall, in my opinion, is one of, if not a top 3 movie of the year by far, and I think the Oscars agreed. They gave it screenplay. A lot of people loved it. That movie would have won Best International Film. It just would have. It's the best film that came from overseas from last year. It just wasn't nominated, and it's a little bit silly. Also not nominated is Godzilla Minus One, which is also a better film than The Zone of Interest, not even nominated. A little kind of mind-blowing to me. And I would also add, I think Perfect Days didn't get enough love. The Wim Wenders film, I thought, probably should have won this category. I get why The Zone of Interest won. I get why people love it. It's just a strange category because Anatomy of a Fall not being there, A, doesn't make any sense, and B, it's just obvious that that's what would have won that category. And that was the moment that film deserved that it didn't end up getting. Except it did win original screenplay, which was a cool moment. Justine Triet's great. Best animated film, The Boy and the Heron won. I don't get it. Listen, The Boy and the Heron's a really great film, but Across the Spider-Verse is a goddamn masterpiece. Listen, it's all subjective. We're all just giving our opinions here. But Across the Spider-Verse needed something, man. I remember when the film came out and people were talking about it winning Best Picture. Not only Best Animated Film, Best Picture. And it didn't even win Best Animated Feature. That's just... it's mind-blowing. What are we doing, man? Come on. Spider-Verse is so great. What other notable things happened? Oh, they banned the dog from Anatomy of a Fall. Did you see that report? They banned the dog. What a great group of people that Hollywood has getting thrown out there, running the Oscars, attending the Oscars. What a great... they banned the dog. Go fuck yourselves. Oh yeah, and my favorite filmmaker of all time. Just, kind of swept the Oscars. Best Director, Christopher Nolan. Best Picture, Oppenheimer. Gotta understand something, guys. I am the biggest Christopher Nolan fan on the face of planet Earth. I'm going in the movies because of love for film that was created by watching Christopher Nolan movies as I was growing up, by watching The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, The Prestige, Memento. Maybe not Memento. I didn't love Memento when I was a kid, but, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, and then in 2014, it all kind of crescendoed with my personal favorite movie of all time, Interstellar. I think it's a perfect movie. I have loved Christopher Nolan ever since then, and I have been waiting for this day for Christopher Nolan to win an Oscar. And although I do not think Oppenheimer's his best film, nor do I think it's the one that he should have won Best Picture for, is a 3 or 4 that I think he should have won for. This is probably his 4th or 5th best movie, in my opinion. But I'm very happy that he got one. And there was something very, very beautiful and very cinematic about Steven Spielberg handing the award to Nolan, because in a weird way, it's kind of like a passing of the torch. Now, I don't really know if Nolan can be compared to a younger Spielberg. Is he really that kind of filmmaker? I don't know. He writes his own movies. Spielberg doesn't write his own movies. He makes less movies than Spielberg. Spielberg, because he doesn't write, was able to direct 5 trillion movies, at a time. He could do a movie a year, essentially, whereas Nolan doesn't have that privilege because he literally has to write the films, run the entire production, and it's a much longer and harder process for somebody like Nolan. But just kind of like this spiritual sense of Spielberg, who is this arguably, he's on the Mount Rushmore of filmmakers, but he's a little bit past his time, right? He's still making movies, but he's not the Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Jaws, E.T. He hasn't been in that zone for a while, but Nolan is in that zone. He's in the zone of everything he touches is brilliant, and there aren't many directors like that, so in a way, it's kind of like the previous generation passing on to the next generation, or the current generation. Just a beautiful moment. I loved it. I thought it was just absolutely excellent. And then they cut to Martin Scorsese, who was also nominated in the category, and I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe the old generation's still kicking, man. I'm just rambling about bullshit now. Listen, the Oscars were great. Oppenheimer won. Everybody's happy. It was a decent show. They're done pandering to bullshit. They're giving awards to the stuff that actually deserves to win the awards. Jimmy Kimmel was a terrible host for like the 5th straight time. But you know what? It was a good show, and the Oscars did well this year. There was no chicanery in this show that really just pissed me off or made anybody else online mad. I know some people are mad about Lily Gladstone losing. Get over yourself. I don't get it. Did we watch the same movies this year? I just have a feeling people saw Killers of the Flower Moon and didn't see anything else. I don't know. Oh, and Killers of the Flower Moon won nothing. I thought I was crazy when I put out my review for that movie, and I said, I don't get it. It's not my thing. I'm just not a big fan of it. And a lot of people told me that I was wrong, and that I was stupid, and I just didn't understand it. But you know what? The Academy backed me up, and what does that mean? It means fucking nothing. Maybe I might just be stupid. Maybe the Academy, maybe we're all dumb, maybe we're all wrong. But think about this. Maybe we're all right on our movie opinions as well. I'm losing my fucking mind here. That's the video, guys. Did you guys watch the Oscars? If you did, let me know what you thought about them down below, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.